God for Don Corleone? Second, how did you go from douche to murderer all of a sudden? Peter loses you your job and you want him dead? You're not just gonna, I don't know, start out a little smaller, like maybe asking God to lose Peter his job? Oh no, that's right. People wanting people dead is bad, and Brock is a bad guy. Never mind if he would actually want Peter dead. The plot needs him to be that bad, so he is. So Eddie gets the suit and then tracks down the Sandman and strikes a deal with him. He tells him, look, I want Spider-Man dead, you want Spider-Man dead, let's work together. So, hang on, did I miss something here? When did the Sandman want Spider-Man dead? He didn't. But the plot needs him to now, so the Sandman agrees. As usual, an elaborate trap is set up using Mary Jane as bait. Peter has to try to save her, but he can't do it alone, so he goes to Harry for help. Harry tells him to take a hike, and afterwards his butler approaches him and gives him information that would have saved everyone a lot of time and trouble, and even have saved lives if he had just opened his mouth a few films ago. So Spider-Man shows up at the trap and gets wailed on by these two until Harry shows up to help. Now, having these two work together as friends would have been a great climax if there had been a legitimate building to this point, but it's just tossed in there after so much convoluted garbage. Anyway, eventually Harry gets impaled, and Peter learns that the tones made by a bunch of metal pipes will disrupt the symbiote. So he traps it in a cage of pipes and yanks Eddie out of the suit. Eddie sees Peter about to destroy it, and he leaps toward the plot-triggered grenade. I say plot-triggered because these grenades apparently do only as much damage as the plot requires them to. The exact same grenade that just messed up Harry's face a little bit is the same grenade that incinerates both Eddie and the symbiote in one shot. So after this, the Sandman approaches Peter and starts confessing what happened the night his uncle was killed. He tells Peter that he knows he's done bad things and that he doesn't expect forgiveness. Peter then comes back with, I've done bad things too. No, you haven't. You haven't done bad things at all. Throwing a grenade at Harry was a good thing, turning Brock in was a good thing, punching Mary Jane in the face was bad but an accident, and everything else was just you acting like a super dork. The only thing you've done bad in this film was dance. You can't have it both ways. Putting the suit on either made Peter bad or it made him funny. You made him funny, you don't get to make him say, I've done bad things too. So Peter forgives him, and the Sandman just floats away. So did he ever help his daughter or not? Way to resolve things, guys. So Harry dies, Peter and Mary Jane get back together, and that's it. Nothing really resolves because there wasn't anything legitimate to resolve. The writers just built a house of cards just to knock it down so they could build it right back up again. The Spider-Man franchise is not a franchise that I hate. I didn't like the first Spider-Man, but it wasn't terrible, and Spider-Man 2 was one of the best films of the last 5 years. Spider-Man 3 just sunk in an inescapable quicksand of special effects and bad writing. We're now hearing reports of a Spider-Man 4 in the works, and I don't dread this at all. Spider-Man 3 was god-awful, but I'm holding out hope that it was just a rare misstep. Maybe they just got overconfident, and after this film's failure, they finally learned from their mistakes. I certainly hope so. But whatever they do with 4, please, no more dancing. The end.